We have leadership groups here. We've had over 450 people go to leadership groups in our home, my wife and my home, usually a dozen or 15 at a time over the last 10 years. And 1 year we had this former senior pastor of a church for 7 years who went to our home, and over 3 months, coming once a month, each person in the group, my wife and I going first, shared the issue in our life that potentially could pick us off and keep us from fulfilling God's will. And that always required us talking about our pain and being transparent and vulnerable, and often tears in the room, etc. Now, he was the last person to go. It was the third month. His wife had gone. She had been vulnerable. She had been transparent. And then it was his turn. Many younger people in the room than he. He was, in a sense, a seasoned warrior. And when it came to him, the last person on the last night, he said these words. He looked around, he said, I just don't think I know any of you well enough to share what has really gone on in my life. And I want to tell you, at that moment, I was stunned. I knew he had issues. I did. That's why, frankly, things had not worked in his life. I looked at his family as he had begged, me to help his daughter, and I spent hours trying to help them. I saw the dysfunction, but I was stunned that even younger Christians, somewhat baby Christians, had been vulnerable and modeled for him the proper response to life, and he just shut down. And honestly, I really felt sorry for him. I pitied him at that moment. The kingdom of God got smaller. He could have said anything. No one was telling him what to say. Say something. But to straight-arm people. And it wasn't pain that kept him. It was pride that kept him. It's the false image of what it means to be a Christian. I seem to have read somewhere that Jesus suffered openly. I seem to have heard somewhere that others saw him in his most painful moment, awkward moment of his life. I think that he was the first fruits of a new creation who would honestly, openly, transparently walk out. And, within a month or two, he was gone from the church. And unless something changed in his life, I think he would be a danger to go back into ministry.